Hi, hello, friends. Welcome back to Night Court Narrative. I am Elvish. I hope you are all doing very well. Today, we have a very controversial video. I am ready to discuss it and see kind of how you guys are feeling about it. I finally picked up Firebird by Julian Dakkia. This book has been setting TikTok on absolute fire lately. I'm sure you've probably seen all of the discord of people calling it problematic, saying it glorifies slavery, and honestly just saying it's irredeemable. And look, I'm all for holding media accountable, but I am also very much on the whole, I would like to see it for myself rather than allowing the clout bandwagon to take a hold of me as well. And I do believe in actually reading something before you condemn it, yeah? So let's get into it. I want to first start by addressing the elephant in the room. A lot of the discourse is claiming that this book romanticizes slavery, and honestly, that's just not what's happening here. Without spoiling too much, yeah, the world is built around a deeply oppressive, hierarchical system, but the point isn't to glorify it, it's to expose how cruel and broken it is. Juliet, the author, doesn't condone it, much rather she's critiquing it, building tension within it, and creating characters who are actively resisting it. And, you know, I know that goes without saying, a lot of people are going to feel some sort of way about this book, but going off of Goodreads, I can definitely tell the people that have read the book and who have not read the book and have jumped on that bandwagon that I mentioned. And I feel like it's very important to build your own opinion on something rather than allowing the cancel culture to take over, because at the end of the day, I understand topics like this are very hard to discuss and they are very hard to read about, and then they're here mainly for educational purposes, because I'm one that truly believes that we can learn from the past, because every time we attempt to hide history, that's always how history ends up repeating itself, and we definitely don't want that to happen. So I do agree that it is good to form your own opinion rather than just going off of what cancel culture says purely, because, you know, again, at the end of the day, you are ruining someone's career saying that they're doing XYZ, which is absolutely horrible, when in actuality that's not actually happening, i.e. we're discussing the romanticizing of slavery here. Again, that just was not the case with this book, and I do feel like those who ultimately say that without reading the book, that is very harmful to an author and just to a person in general. So let's get into it, shall we? I do want to talk about the male main character. He is not your typical alpha male who asserts dominance just because he can. He's pretty layered and kind of complex. He's angry, protective, but more importantly, he's morally aware. He's navigating a world where cruelty is normalized, and yet he's constantly pushing back, trying to find a way to do better, especially when it comes to how he treats our female main character. He doesn't just fall in love, he chooses her over everything he's ever known, over power, tradition, even safety. It's not glorifying oppression, that's confronting from within it. Does that make sense? I don't know if that made sense. The romance, I liked it. I felt like personally their chemistry was insane, but what really got me was a mutual respect. He doesn't push, rather he waits, he listens, and he lets her set the tone even when his feelings are burning through the page, you know? They are equals, not by status or by connection, or not by status, but by their connection. And their dynamic is about undoing the damage of the world they live in, not feeding into it. And I feel like that is absolutely so powerful, because if you did read the book, throughout the book, he definitely pushes back on the hierarchy and this whole, you are my slave, we will do as I say, whatever. But more so, he gives her the options, he gives her the stability to be her own person, and he allows her to voice her opinions, and he treats treats her as if they are equals and if they are friends and partners rather than berating, belittling, and ultimately just treating her as if she is not a human being. And I loved that for him. He is definitely nowhere near what everyone on TikTok was saying he was. He is one in during this timeline, I guess, that is doing everything he can to stop slavery. And at the end of the book too, there is a section where he's even attempting to go against the government and against everything. And I feel like that part of the book isn't talked about enough, and I definitely want to shed some light on that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I get it. Not every book is going to be for everyone, and it is valid to be wary when you see red flags, but I do truly believe that Firebird deserves to be read before it's canceled. It's not absolutely perfect, but it's thoughtful, it's emotional, and it's saying way more than the one sentence summaries flying around TikTok. And if that, if I'm being honest about that, I personally gave this book a 5-star rating. I truly loved it. I loved the message in it. I loved the writing style. I loved the more, I wouldn't say the entire book is educational. I wouldn't go that far, but I do really like the few educational purposes throughout the book. It didn't just give out they're oppressed, they don't know any better, or whatever the case. She actually did what she could to educate the reader and to shed some light on certain things. So I really, really enjoyed that. I personally feel that this book, in my opinion, like I said, it wasn't perfect. There were certain things that could have been better, but to be real with you, I loved it for what it was worth. I actually loved every single bit of it. I loved the banter. I loved the historical aspect. I loved the supportive aspect with our main characters. The chemistry between them was absolutely outstanding. I loved the side characters. I loved the side plot. There wasn't too much side plot, but as far as like Caesar goes in the background, the whole attempting to go against the government thing, I liked the possible side war it seemed like it was getting ready to start, and just so on and so forth. I gave this book a 5-star rating. I truly did like it. This is very difficult because if you've come this far into the video and you haven't become a keyboard warrior in the comments yet, I want to encourage you to give this book a chance if you have yet to do so. I want to encourage you to be your own person and to form your own opinions. I understand it's much easier to go with the collective group, i.e. cancel culture. It is very easy to fall in line with them because, those who go against cancel culture are more inclined to get canceled next. And I don't feel like that's absolutely fair because I am personally one that does not agree with slavery. I do not agree with the oppression or the segregation or anything that happened back in our history. However, I am a very strong believer that if we do ignore history, that is always how history ends up repeating itself. And this is something that we do not want to repeat in history. And so I think being able to read and discuss it like the humans that we are, I feel like that is such a powerful thing because our voices are the most powerful thing that we have. And the moment that we start silencing those that do care and that do end up wanting to make a difference, that's what ends up, as I've said multiple times, allows history to repeat itself. And I don't want to be that way. So I personally loved this book. I saw what she was trying to get at. I know there was a lot of people saying that there was a lot of grape in this book, and that honestly is not true whatsoever. You know, as I mentioned earlier, our male main character, he is very adamant on your choice, your time, your voice. He doesn't even touch her. He doesn't really think about touching her. He doesn't even go out of his way to extend a hand unless she says it is okay. And we don't actually get our first spy scene until somewhat in the middle to endish, where it was fully consensual between both parties, and she even came out and said that it was okay. And we get that from, like, you know, it stems from, if you've read the book, it stems from a mutual agreement and a mutual respect, as far as he understands that she has a lot of self-worth and that he should continue to uplift her and everything. And she also sees, okay, this is someone that's trying to, like I just said, uplift me. He's not trying to belittle me. He's not trying to rule me. He's not trying to do anything. He's giving me my own voice back, and he's giving me the power and, if you will, freedom. So they end up falling for one another. I loved the chemistry. I loved everything about it. But at the end of the day, I do think that everything in this book was consensual between the female and male main characters, besides obviously the fact that, you know, she was up for the slavery grab and everything. I do think if he did not take her, it would have been a very more gruesome, and that already makes me sad. Like, I don't even want to think about that. But no, that just makes me sad. Like, it would have been a lot worse because she did give him the freedom. Think about it. If you've never read this book, think about it as The Handmaid's Tale. Not in the book sense, but like, follow me here. Like, you know how like some of the commanders in The Handmaid's Tale are very, if you even speak out of line, you get consequences. If you do this, this happens. There's a chain of command. I am your leader. You will listen to me because you have a part to play. But once we see Lawrence, he's very much, I don't follow that in this household. You have a freedom to speak how you want to. You can do whatever as long as you keep my privacy private outside of my walls. I don't care what you do. And we hold that here. All of the other, are they gods? Aren't they gods? Isn't Julian, like, I think Julian is what he went by, but Julius is who he's supposed to be, and Caesar, aren't they gods? So like, I guess all of them, they're the exact same, where they have a certain power that needs to be held and they hold themselves to a higher power. But once you're in his vicinity, in his household, in his everything, he allows you to be how you are. That's a little rant. I'm sorry, I digress, but that's how this book was, and I don't think that TikTok and the Goodreads comments did it justice. However, a lot of the Goodreads comments have gotten a lot better. People are going out of their way to form their own opinion, and they are seeing that TikTok was not legit on what they were saying. But whatever, I digress. Sorry. It's been forever since I've done videos on my own, so I'm still not quite used to how to do them. So I just kind of start ranting, and I feel like I derail so far. But ultimately, this book is a 5-star. I absolutely loved it. I loved everything about it. Please give it a chance. And now, truly, I do want to hear it. If you truly, absolutely did read this book from beginning to end, and you did not agree with this video whatsoever, let's be respectful to one another. And I want you in the comments to tell me why you think the book completely went a different direction. And I would love to have that conversation with you. But let's also keep in mind, we are allowed to have opinions. We are allowed to have different views on things, but that does not mean the other person is wrong. I am not wrong for my opinion, and you are not wrong for your opinion. And I want to stay respectful, and I want to educate one another, possibly. If you truly do think that I am wrong about something, let me know in the comments, but don't do it in a disrespectful manner, because at the end of the day, I am human just like you are. And yeah, so let's just be respectful. And until the next video, I hope y'all have a very, very wonderful day. And yeah, bye guys.